we are. It's Working Wednesday. Today's topic is following up. Yes, remember the 4-step job search system? I told you that it's a system, so let's start at the beginning. The beginning is networking. Networking so that you can get the job leads. After you network and get the job leads, you've got to apply for the jobs. Now, the jobs are not just going to come by your house. Get off the couch, my friend. You're going to have to apply for the jobs. Once you put in enough applications, you will then yield some interviews. Yes, interviews. Remember those things? Yes, those things that you're afraid of. Well, Ms. D, the job coach, is here to make you a little bit less afraid of the interview. And then the last step is following up. I want you to become an expert at following up. Follow up on the job leads that you got from networking. Follow up on the applications and resumes that you've submitted. Following up on the interviews. Building those relationships that are going to get you a job. Remember, that's the goal of this? Come on now. Are you paying attention? Okay. You have your pen. You have your piece of paper. The topic for today is following up. Yes, follow up. Follow up has to happen. If you don't follow up, how do they know that you really want it? We're not sure. It's how you ensure that the potential employer is fully engaged with you and is going to help you go through the process. Okay. I have to introduce you to my guest. He's sitting here and he's just so nice and polite. DJ CEO is over there and he's so nice and polite. But I want you guys to know that I'm not in here by myself. This is a small studio. I'm in this little room with this. Okay, you don't have to understand all that stuff. But if you're watching us on YouTube or you're watching us on Facebook, then you see the beautiful surroundings that we have here. I love being at In Touch News Radio because it is such warm hospitality. Thank you so much, DJ CEO, for the hospitality. So much so that I brought a guest with me. Now, some of you might think, how does this guy fit in? But you're going to get to learn all about how Real Estate Ray fits into the conversation of following up. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning. Good morning. Very welcoming applause.
You like that, huh? Yeah, we got sound effects and stuff. Yes, we are working it out. We are working it out.
Make me feel at home.
Of course, it's about hospitality. Listen, that's DJ CEO. I'm from Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, you get a bagel. That's about it.
Yeah, not even a good morning.
You barely get a good morning. You barely get a good morning.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Ray, let me give you a few minutes just to tell the listening audience and those that are watching us on social media, tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do, how you became Real Estate Ray Tampa Bay.
All right. Well, I'm 37 years old. I really always have loved looking at the inside of homes and going to open houses. Me and my father actually do that. So my love of homes led me to construction, which led me to, you know what? I can sell these things better than I could build them.
Very cool.
So
yes, we had a conversation the other day about you and building. And, I don't know if that part went so good for you, but I'm glad you're on the side of the business that you are today.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
The houses that I built are still standing to this day.
No. It's not
they
about
survived the hurricane and everything else.
It's not at all about your skills. Not at all about your skills. But it was more about your happiness in your career. That's really what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
Being happy in your career, I think, is important.
Definitely. So I started seeing that during the build process is very stressful. To build a home for somebody, because, they're anxious to move in and, there are different delays that happen and
change orders,
so many different things. And the time where I felt most happy is at the end when we actually built it and they were able to walk in for the first time, either solo or with their kids or with their significant other, and look around and, man, this thing went from a pile of dirt to an actual home. So I was like, you know what? I feel way better.
So you're into the finished product is what
I'm
you're
into
saying.
the finished product.
Okay.
and into bringing people into, the home of their dreams rather than explaining to them, well, it got held back because, weather or whatever the case may be. So.
You're right. It's been raining for the last 12 days, and that's why we can't continue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
that's
actually,
happened.
now some people don't know this about me, and I have a very robust resume. So there are some things that I've done that I leave off of my resume, but I did used to work for a home builder. When I lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I worked for a home builder, and I was Syntex. And when I worked for them, I was working in a development that was building $250,000 homes on acre lots,
Right.
and custom build, change orders, the radiant floor heating and all types of amazing stuff that I learned about home building at that point. So it's just a great point of reference, and people are often surprised. They're like, "Were you in real estate?" I'm like, not really.
Really, but not really.
Really, but not really, And I was really, honestly, I was the greeter. That was my job. My job was to greet people and give them their information. But most people know that I'm pretty nosy. So I would read. DJ CEO shaking his head over there. That's why I know so much. I just nosy. I'm curious. That's a different way of saying nosy. I'm curious. Right. I'm curious about how things work, how they come to be, how was that built, where did that come from? I like stuff like that. I like information. So I would read through the change orders and the different things that people were doing. So it gives me a little bit of knowledge, just enough information to be dangerous, of course.
Right.
So Ray, I asked you to come in here today on the topic of following up because, you don't have a traditional job, right? So some people are saying, job coach, why would you bring a person who doesn't have a traditional job into your show? And the reason why is because I try to share with people that I'm not just a job coach. I'm a job coach and business consultant. And the 4-step system, it can give people a sense of how to navigate their business and grow their business as well. Right. Because even when you're in business, you have to do the networking piece. You have to create a network of people that know you, that know your work, that can refer you, things of that nature. Also, applying, when we talk about applying for clients, if you will, in your case, it's giving them the information that they need for them to make a decision that they need to be with you. You share your resume, although it often is verbal, but you do share your resume with them. Why should they choose you as opposed to choosing someone else? And then the interview, where you're having that relationship building conversation with them. But if you don't follow up, what happens?
If you don't follow up, you lose your client.
Yeah.
There's no other way about it, because, as bad as it is to say, I mean, it's really shark-infested water out here. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you need to be on your follow-up, and you also need to be on your social media. You need to be on your marketing game. Right. And if you're not, the person that is going to get the client, and you're not. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Giving somebody else the opportunity to get in there simply because they followed up better than you did. I mean, that's so disappointing. When I was in sales as a full-time, I'm in sales all the time, but everything that we're doing is selling. Some people don't like that word, but when I lived on 100% commission sales, when I would call a client and they said, "Oh, just yesterday I signed with," I would look at the phone. Like, if I had called yesterday, is that what you're telling me? And that let me know how critical it is to be timely in your follow-up and have a system to follow up.
Definitely.
So I want to talk today about having a system to follow up, some of the key things that you need to be sure that you have when you're following up, whether you're doing it in terms of your job search or you're doing it in terms of your business. So, Ray, tell me your best follow-up story.
Okay. Well, let me first say this.
Okay.
Real estate Ray. I'm in Tampa Bay. I work for Florida Luxury Realty. I love them so much. They've actually taught me about the importance of follow-up. So, my broker, Sharice Matthews, has been very great and instrumental in kind of jamming that into our heads. The best story that I have for follow-up was I did a cold call. So I had to call an individual, convince them that they should list their home with me because it had just expired. And they were like, "Oh, we're not sure we're ready right now." Okay, fine. You're not ready right now? That's fine. Followed up the next week. "Hey, just wanted to see how everything was going with your home." And they're like, oh, we're still not ready right now. We're probably going to go with the last people that we listed with. And the question always is, what are they going to do this time differently than they did last time to sell your home? I mean, it's been 6 months. They had 6 months to sell it. They didn't do it. You're out of contract with them. What's the point of going back?
Okay.
So, I did say that. In in a more respectful way, because I'm saying it more bland now. But
wording is important.
Right. Wording is definitely important, and also it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly.
So anyway, after following up with them, it took me about 3 weeks. I guess they either got tired of me or they saw the light, one or the other.
A little bit of both.
And they were like, you know what? Fine, come over, come look at the house. We'll get this thing figured out. And literally, I was at their house for about 5 or 6 hours.
I love that story. And one of the reasons why I love that story is because what I heard was consistency and persistence. And those are two things that a person in job search absolutely has to have. People ask me, Ms. D, how many times should I follow up? And when should I follow up? And, they're very concerned about the timing. They're very concerned about feeling like they're pestering the employer.
Right.
But for me, listen, tenacity sometimes will get it for you. Just being there at the moment when the employer says, you know what, you're the only person that was this persistent. You're the only person that interviewed and then actually did follow up. So if you're this person, you're showing me who you are. If you're this person in the interview process, I can only imagine who you're going to be when I engage you as an employee.
Right, definitely.
And so that can be the difference. Being persistent. So one of my best follow-up stories is a follow-up. Now, this may seem silly. I had to follow up for 6 months to get a job once.
Hey.
6 months.
How bad is your want to?
Okay. Actually, okay, so here's the story. Here's the story.
All right.
And some of you may laugh at this, but that's okay. I have some resume time in the grocery business. When I was in college the first time, I worked in a grocery store, and I liked it a lot. I liked the environment. I didn't like it enough to make it my career, but it's in terms of having, a part-time job, grocery stores pay well because they're union. The work is not terrible. And for the most part, you're going to be in, a nice environment, a relatively nice environment with most grocery stores. So when I came to the Tampa Bay area, I said, you know what, I just need a part-time something, and I'm going to go to a grocery store. I had a good experience there before. I wasn't looking to make it my career, but it's a nice job that you can get hourly, gets the hours you want. Good situation. Right. I recommend it to young people all the time and someone who's looking for a part-time job. So I went to a grocery store and I applied for the job. And the woman looked at my resume and she was like, bachelor's degree, you used to make, what? Why do you want to work here? And I said, I really just want a part-time gig. That's all I'm looking for. And she didn't believe me. She didn't believe me. But it took me a little bit of time. After she interviewed me, she knew that I was a good candidate. It wasn't a question of me being a good candidate. It was a question of whether or not I really wanted to work there. Well, you know how I proved it to her? I went back every couple of weeks for 6 months. And kept telling her, I'm still looking for a part-time. Hey, I see that person over there is new. That person over there is new. So you are hiring people. You just haven't hired me.
Right.
It was my persistence. What she said the day she hired me was, oh, Lord, I'm having an orientation on Friday. Show up. That's how she hired me. That's how I got a job offer. And I don't think she thought I was going to show up. And I did. She was like, when I showed up that Friday, she said, oh, you came. I'm like, what? Yeah, of course I can. I've been asking you for this job for 6 months. Anyway, by that time, I built a relationship with her. She and I were friends. I called her by her first name by the time she actually offered me the job. But I really just wanted a part-time job. And I worked there for a little over 6 months before I moved on. But it was a good experience. It gave me what I wanted. She got what she wanted. She got a cashier that actually showed up for opening every day. So giving the employer what they want and sometimes just proving to them through your action, your persistence, and your follow-up is how you're going to convince them that you actually want to work for them.
Right.
It's Working Wednesday. This is In Touch News Radio. We'll be right back.
My name is Gil Sampson. I didn't come from a very rich family, and so paying for college would have been very tough. I don't know if I would have been able to go to the college that I went to, and then I don't know if I would have gotten into the career that I am in. So I think Bright Futures has done a lot to shape my life. I got a job as a structural engineer, and I design residential buildings, commercial buildings all over the United States. Because of Bright Futures, I was able to go to college. You know, so many kids just don't even ever get that opportunity. And to be able to do it and not have any debt when I graduated is amazing. And it was all thanks to Bright Futures.
Florida has created more than 1 million jobs in only 5 years, and a great education connects our students to these exciting opportunities. That's why the Florida Lottery has funded Bright Futures scholarships to help over 725,000 students attend college. Because every play is for education. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sun down 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Working Wednesday. What are you doing on Wednesday? This is Miss D, the job coach. Yes, get off the couch. It's Wednesday. I know you're tired of looking for a job, but that's why I came on. Get up, get up, get up. It's Working Wednesday. We are going to help you get that job. Remember, that's what we're working on. I know it's Wednesday. You had an interview on Monday. You had something to do on Tuesday. And Wednesday is the hardest day of the week to keep looking for your job. I'm going to help you get over the hump today. Okay, I'm going to push you right on over the hump. I'm going to give you some information. We're going to give you some ideas. We're going to make it just a conversation. I've got to get you off the couch. Get your pen, your paper. Real Estate Ray and I are going to help you learn how to follow up on those job leads. You've got some job leads out there. You've got some applications out there. You've sent out some resumes. It's Working Wednesday, and we're going to help you get that job. Come on. So we're talking about following up. And before we went on the break, I talked about the different methods of following up. We talked about just continuing to go back and talk to the employer and let them know that we are interested in the job. Sometimes that's all you have to do is simply continue to build that relationship by having those conversations. You know, sometimes you got to get bold and you got to be persistent and you got to keep letting the potential employer know that you're the right choice. Come on now, let's think about it. They're interviewed several people. Sometimes they're interviewing as much as 20 to 25 people before they decide their final 3, right? How are you going to continue to stick out in the crowd? The way that you do that is through your follow-up.
Right.
Now, you know, you have to follow up on the networking part. So, Ray, talk to me a little bit about what you do in terms of networking in order to build your potential client base.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the question that you asked earlier. You were saying earlier, just about follow-up and, why it's important. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a parallel between real estate and just the job market, period, because I'm unemployed until I get my next client.
Bing, bing, bing.
So the client's my employer.
That's right.
So I constantly have to follow up with different people. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. And then networking actually is your way of marketing. It's a free way of marketing. People see you, you're a walking billboard. That's right. Everywhere you go, every person you come in contact with, every conversation that you have, you need to actually interject what you do. Now, how that relates to somebody looking for a job is if you're out there and you're talking to people, just people in general. They're people work places.
That's right.
People own businesses.
That's
You
right.
know. So at the end of the day, when you're talking to somebody and you're telling them what you do and what you would like to do and what you aspire to do, you never know, you might be talking to your next employer. So the way you carry yourself and the way you maneuver is, you know, is very, very important.
That's
and like
right.
in real estate, is very, very important, you know, how we maneuver and the things that we do. And I'm only as good as my last client.
Okay.
So how I treated my last client, that client's going to go on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and either rave about me.
That's
or,
right. That's right. Listen,
they're
it's
gonna
instant
tear you
nowadays.
down.
It's instant nowadays. People
Right.
can give instant feedback. They don't have to wait
Right.
for you to send them a feedback card. And they're not just giving you the feedback, they're giving the whole world the feedback. I mean,
Exactly.
listen, I have taken to Twitter on a company or 10.
Right.
And right?
Right.
And even when someone gives you feedback, good, bad, or indifferent, you need to follow up on that as well, don't you?
Definitely. Definitely. And here's the thing. A lot of people, they want to go to an interview and, you know, maybe you don't get the job at that particular point, but there is feedback,
Right.
you know, and there is a learning point to
Right.
that. You know, you went to this interview, you might not have gotten that job, you might not have been qualified, whatever the reason might have been, you take that fuel and you go to the next job with that. You
Right.
Go to the next interview.
I
and the
tell
next
people that
interview.
all the time. You get the feedback if you can from the potential employer, from the person that you interviewed with, and you can get that you can get some of the feedback real time, meaning
definitely.
in the interview you can simply ask. There's a way to formulate the question. So here are some examples of questions that will yield you feedback in the interview. Mr. Employer, based on the skills and abilities that I shared with you in our interview today, is there anything else that you think would make me the ideal candidate for this job? They'll answer the question. They'll either tell you, no, I think your skills are on point, or they'll say, we're really looking for somebody that also has this if there's something that you're lacking. And so now you know going forward. So many times candidates tell me, hey, I haven't gotten any feedback. And I go, did you ask for it at the interview? They go, what do you mean did I ask for it at the interview? Listen, don't wait and hope that they'll call you and tell you, because most employers, they don't have time for that. Listen, I worked in HR, and the HR people do not have time to call and give you the cliff notes from the interview. That's
Right.
just not happening. Many candidates are frustrated. They say, listen, they have this automated process, and I'm not getting any feedback, and I'm so frustrated, and I don't know what to do. And then, crying starts. I just give them a tissue, and I say, listen, you have to understand that they're doing a job every day. They're trying to hire somebody. They don't really have time to motivate and develop you. What they want is for you to show your level of engagement, your level of interest in the job by asking for it in the interview.
Right.
So at the end of the interview, ask for the feedback. Make sure you learn how to frame it. That's why you need to get a coach. That's why you should follow me on social media at MSD Job Coach. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook, or you can go to my website, www.msd-thejobcoach.com. And if all else fails, you can do it the old-fashioned way. You can call me up on the telephone. Yes, right, the telephone. I answer my telephone. Well, not right now, because if you call me right now, you're going to interrupt my Facebook feed, and I'm going to say, I can't talk to you.
Right.
But you can call me on the phone. My direct number is area code 704-277-8714. But you can call me in the studio right now. That's right. Right now, I'll answer this call, 813-444-9588. Let me give it to you again. I know you have the pen. You might have dropped it. Bend over and pick it up. 813-444-9588. Call in. Ask your questions. That's what we're here for, is to give you what you need. You know, Ray and I like hanging out, and DJ CEO and I like hanging out, but this is really about you. This is really about you getting the information that you need. By the way, DJ CEO, guess what happened? This person that I know, that I alluded to the fact that I was not going to give my services away for free. Guess what they've been doing?
What's that?
They have been listening to the show.
Really?
Yes, they have. They said, I've been listening to your show since I've been searching for this job. They didn't want to hire me as a coach,
Okay.
but they came on and started listening to the show. And every week they started taking notes. So when they went in the interview, they used the own the interview strategy, and they broke it down, and they did their follow-up, and they got a job that they really are in love with now.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah. So that was a success story.
Yes.
And that's the success of this show. That's the success of the opportunity that we have to be on air, In Touch News Radio, every Wednesday. I thank you so much for giving us this platform and giving us this opportunity. It is not just a service to me and my business, but it really is a service to the community. So thank you so much, DJs.
You are more than welcome. I can personally attest to, what your skill set is all about and how it helps those out there that are looking for employment. I can say that, you may be cheating yourself if you are not reaching out to Coach D, because she has what it takes to get you to the next level. If she is, let me just say, she is well worth the investment. If you are investing in yourself, then you should be investing in Coach D, because she is investing in you.
Definitely.
And I just, I've seen it. I've got proven results. I've got a testimony, and I just believe that those that are listening right now, don't cheat yourself. I mean, we love you listening in, but pick up the phone and call Coach D and invest in yourself.
Thank you so much. It is truly an investment in your career. Yes, I choose to do this for a living, and yes, I do it for a living. I eat from doing this, okay? And so I tell people, so people call me up sometimes and they just want to chat and they want to ask me business-related questions. They want to ask me about what I do, and I say, I don't work for free. And I have to draw the line, doing the show is part of my service to the community, but it's also marketing. We talked about marketing a minute ago, and we've got to be able to market ourselves. We've got to be able to share with people what I do, and doing what I do and gathering the testimonials is part of how I build my marketing strategy. Being able to share with people something that I'm truly passionate about. I'm a job coach because when I was a recruiter and I sat on the other side of the desk, painfully listening to people perform poorly in interviews, saying all the things that they should not say in an interview, I said, if I ever had the chance, I would definitely share with people, teach people, if you will, how to effectively go through the job search and interview process. And that's exactly what I'm doing today. So doing something that I love. That's the gift of this whole thing, is being able to see people achieve. I spent much of my career as a trainer professionally, and being able to teach people things that enable them, empower them, if you will, to be able to get to the next level, get to where they want, whether it's getting their first job or raising themselves up in the next level in their career, or connecting with amazing people in the community like DJ CEO and Real Estate Ray. I mean, I am honored to be alongside of such professionals and be able to share this message. We want people to be employed. We want to lift people up economically and empower them to do something amazing with their lives. I think that's really the point of what we do at In Touch News Radio. And when we come back, we will talk more about following up.
Smooth Soul is In Touch Radio.
Hi, this is Dr. Veronica Walters, also known as Dr. V, the head of school at the Walters Academy for Entrepreneurship, a place that we like to call The Way, where we're educating today's youthpreneurs to be tomorrow's billionaires through social entrepreneurship. Do you have a student who's bored, frustrated, gifted, inquisitive, creative, business-minded? Then maybe you need to check The Way out. Listen, we have an educational platform that allows for individualized instruction. It's strength-based, project-based, and designed to help your student become the absolute best they can while starting their own business and being an entrepreneur. If you're looking for something different and you need to find a more excellent way, then you need to visit us at The Way. That's The Way, www.thewaetampa.org. Or you can call us at 813-603-7923. We look forward to showing your student a more excellent way at The Way.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Hey, Tampa Bay. Want to cruise to Cuba? Tampa to Havana? We've got the best prices. Call Kinsey Travel, 863-274-3715. That's Kinsey Travel, 863-274-3715. Baby, let's cruise.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday. My name is Margaret DeBelot. I am Miss D, the job coach, and it is Working Wednesday. We are getting up and getting you off the couch and off to work. Yes, off to work. I know you've been spending that time sitting there contemplating what your next move is. Well, let's talk about your next move. It's Wednesday. Wednesday is the hardest day of the week to keep your job search up. Why? Because Monday you had an interview, Tuesday you had an interview, and now Wednesday you're kind of sitting there doing the Johnny Bench, waiting to see what happens next. DJ CEO loves when I talk about Johnny Bench. I always like to do it. And so you're thinking, what do I do now? What? It's Wednesday. It's hump day. I don't know. I don't have any interviews, and it seems late in the week to be putting in applications. And maybe you're tired of looking at the computer. Well, I hope you haven't been spending all your time with the computer in your job search. I hope that you're using your network, because networking is the number one way for you to find employment. Statistically speaking, going to the computer is about 7% effective. Yeah, I looked at that statistic yesterday. 7% of people find their job just by going on the internet. So don't turn the computer off, because that's probably where you're listening to the show. Right? But your job search is in your network. And following up with people that you know somebody that can help you get the next job. I don't know who they are. You do, though. Somebody in your network is going to refer you to a company, to a position that's available, or something of that nature. They're going to let you know. So you've got to start letting people know that you're looking for a job. And you're not looking for any job, because the last time I Googled any job, nothing came up. So that is not the answer. Do not tell people you want any job, because if I have a job paying 25 cents an hour, shucking peanuts, I don't think that's the job that you want. So that is a job, but it might not be the one that you want, right? So get real clear on what you're looking for so that the people in your network can help you. Ask for it, and then follow up. If they give you job leads, don't expect the person who referred you to do the work. You've got to do the work, right? Okay. Follow up. What does follow up look like? Follow up looks like calling, emailing, or walking in. Follow up looks like going online and actually putting in the application. If somebody tells you a company's hiring, you need to go and find that company's website and put in the application. You need to find the phone number to the company, call them, and say, hey, I heard you had a position available. I'm very interested in it. You need to organize your thoughts so that you can call and make a good English sentence and ask for what you're looking for. Be sure that you know what you're going to say before you call to follow up. Hey, Ray, I heard you say that you've done some customer service and things like that. And have you ever used any scripted material to follow up with your clients?
Oh, when I used to work in telemarketing, I think a lot of us have started out there in the phone room.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. The first time I worked in the telemarketing environment, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
But I did know sales, and they were like, you're going to be in a room with people and making phone calls. I was like, what kind of thing is this, right? So me being the curious person that I am, I became the quality manager for a company here in town. I had some call center experience,
right.
and but using those scripts, people say, I don't want to use a script, but what are some of the benefits of using a script to follow up, Ray?
Well, one thing, we use scripts even in real estate, and what it really is just a guideline.
Right.
It's a guideline to be able to pursue a conversation and to engage someone into a conversation.
Right.
Once you actually know what to say and what answer you're trying to get out of the person, then you just flow naturally. But until then, like you said, when you first started, you didn't know what you didn't know.
Right.
So this is giving you kind of a roadmap to, there's your greeting. I'm going to say who I am.
Right.
I'm going to say what I want.
Right. Okay.
Then I'm going to ask you a question that engages you in order for me to figure out how I can best help you. Right?
Right.
So having a script like that, you start to follow that, then it just becomes natural. Then I can just call you and say, hey, my name is Ray with Florida Luxury Realty. I want to take a look at your property really fast and see what I can do to help you get it sold. Most people are like, all right, come take a look at the property. It's not that hard.
Well, the thing is, starting out with the script, a lot of my clients say, well, I don't want to use a script. And I go, well, what are you going to say?
Right.
And they're like, I don't know. Well, you need to write something down. You write your own script. Write your own script. What do you want? You want to say, my name is, and now this may seem silly, but I instruct my clients to get an index card and write your name, write who referred you, write the job that you're looking for. And these are just, like you said, it's just an outline. It's talking points so that when you pick up the phone, stage fright doesn't set in and cause you to sound like you have no idea what you called for. I mean, people say to me all the time, oh, well, I'll just call them up. I go, call them up, and what are you going to say? And then they go, huh? Well, is what's going to come out of your face if you don't have talking points. So when you follow up on either the job leads or even the interview, make sure that you write down some talking points on what you're going to say when you call in. Write down the name of the person. If it's following up on an interview, write down the name of the person that interviewed you. You would be surprised. Well, maybe I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe DJ CEO would be surprised at the number of people that call somewhere and they have no idea what they want to say. When the person answers the phone, they're like, I interviewed the other, and then I'll call back. Bye. Why?
Now, I will tell you this. My first real estate call, my first call that I ever had reaching out to someone to try to list their home went a little something like this. As soon as they answered the phone, it was ring, ring, ring. Hello? Do you want to sell your house? And this is after reading the script, right? Reading my script, knowing what I'm gonna say, role playing with people in the room. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm gonna kill this.
I'm ready.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna go in and everything else. And as soon as they answer, hello, do you want to sell your house? Man, that man hung up on me so fast. Now, interestingly enough, the person that I told you that I bothered for 3 weeks to list their home, that was that guy.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
He didn't remember. So he didn't remember that he had talked to me
amnesia.
before. Yeah, because I mean, there's so many different people calling your home.
Of course.
That's why I like to tell the second story, because the first story, people are like, all right, you were just persistent. It's like, no, I had to tuck that number away and call that number back, which is another form of follow-up.
That's right.
That's what we're talking about. I still followed up with that person because I didn't give my best self.
Right.
He didn't get the best representation of what I could do. If I can't formulate a sentence to tell you what I want,
that's not good.
I probably can't sell your house for you.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good impression. That's not the good one. No.
It was what it was. But I ended up getting them in the end. But just saying that just because you mess up at one point in time, and this goes in life, just because you mess up at some point in life doesn't mean you can't recover.
That's right.
You can always recover as long as you're breathing.
That's good. That's good. Now, listen, that's a good one, because sometimes we think we went on the interview and we just totally messed it up.
Right.
But we can recover sometimes if we're a good fit for the company and we really want it. Listen, don't tuck tail and run away. Call them up and say, hey, I interviewed on this day, and I had a really good experience interviewing. Don't worry about what happened to the interview. I had a really good experience interviewing, and I'm really interested in the job. Let me tell you something. I have a colleague that interviewed for a job, and he was like third or fourth down on the list of their picks. Well, the first person had already gotten another job when they made the offer. The second person never answered the phone. The third person came in, decided they didn't like the job, and left. And he was number 4, and he got the job.
It's for him.
Okay. So listen, if you got as far as the interview, which is huge based on the statistics, you getting the interview. If you really want that job, you follow up. You follow up and you create a relationship. I know, listen, I'm in a room with 2 married men, so they're not afraid of the word relationship. Okay. Right. But when I start talking about developing the professional relationship with potential employers, people look at me really weird. I go, no. Think about it. How many hours do you spend at your job every day? You probably spend more hours awake with the people you work with than you do your family based on, a regular 24-hour day. So if you consider that, one of the ways that people decide if they want to employ someone is, are they a good fit for our environment? And that's why you have to build that relationship. And you can do it through the follow-up. You can do it through the continual contact, the having the conversations with that potential employer and saying, yes, I am the right candidate. Not only am I the person who has the right skills, the right education, and the right background, but I'm also a person that is friendly, and I'm coachable, and I'm interested in your business, and I want to make an impact. I want to do something there if you would just give me a chance. So that's a lot of what you're able to do in the follow-up process. Have that follow-up conversation, not just with the potential hiring manager, but I want to talk for a second about the follow-up that you do with the gatekeeper. I like to talk about the gatekeeper.
Oh, yeah.
That's that person that answers the phone, and they're between you and the hiring manager. That person sometimes has way more pull than you realize. Because what they'll say, if you're persistent in your follow-up, now that hiring manager probably isn't going to take your call all the 6 times that you call, but that person who answered the phone did. And if you are kind and polite and informative and persistent with that person, sometimes that person can give that information to the hiring manager and become your cheerleader. That person says, hey, that Margaret DeBala-Torres, I finally figured out how to say her name. She keeps calling, so I know how to say her name now. Margaret DeBala-Torres, she keeps calling. She must really want to work here. And, every time I talk to her, she's pleasant. She knows exactly what she wants. I think she'll give a good customer experience. I think that I don't know, where she is in your consideration, but I like her a lot, And say her, that person, her or him, that gatekeeper, that receptionist, that person who fields the phone calls might be the person that shares their experience with the hiring manager and gets you hired. You never know. You never know. You never know who influences the situation. And you've got to be prepared no matter who you're talking to. I don't care if you're talking to the guy who wipes the windows. Some people forget about those ancillary employees that they pass. You don't know who they are and you don't know what their influence is. So please always leave a good impression wherever you go. You don't know who is going to be able to help you get the job. This is Working Wednesday. I'm Miss D, the job coach on In Touch News Radio, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Tampa Bay Tammy. Don't forget to pick up your copy of In Touch News.
We're playing your favorite old school.
Ain't nobody loves me better. Makes me happy. Makes me feel good.
Today's R&B.
Carry magic in the air.
With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Hey, this is Miss K with K's Kitchen, cooking Chicago-style fried chicken and fish with the authentic Chicago-style mild sauce. Come check us out at 5508 North 50th Street in Tampa. We're open Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 6, or you can call us at 813-3 813-368-5196. Again, that number is 813-368-5196. See you soon.
Been in a car crash? Call Ricky. Don't know what to do? Ask Ricky. We will connect you with a lawyer and doctor experienced in auto accident injuries. Call Ricky at 844-361-7425. After an auto accident, you have 14 days to seek medical attention. You may be in pain, so call Ricky, ask Ricky for your best options. 844-361-7425. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal and medical referral service. The lawyers in our network pay to receive referrals.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday. My name is Margaret DeBalot. I am Miss D, the job coach, and this is Working Wednesday on In Touch News Radio. If you are still looking for a job, I am so glad that you came on with us today. Listen, Working Wednesday is all about you getting information, you getting knowledge so that you can have a more successful job search. That's right, successful job search. Now listen, the statistics are against you. The statistics are against you out there in job search. And so the more information that you have, the more knowledge that you have about what the interview process is, how to get the job leads, how to overcome the objections in the follow-up process, all of that. That's what Working Wednesday is all about. Today we're talking about follow-up. I have an amazing guest in the studio with me today, Real Estate Ray.
Yes. Good morning.
Ray, you know, one of the reasons why I asked you to come in is because you do have a unique perspective, because you have both been an employee as well as a potential employer when you expand into your real estate brokering, right? So, hey, listen, we develop as we go, right?
Definitely.
And those experiences cause you to have a perspective that I think is really cool, and that people can really embrace the idea of looking at the 4 steps of the job search system, which are networking, applying, interviewing, and following up, as tools that they can use not just to get a job, although 2019 is the year of your career. Mm-hmm. I truly believe that if you have a system to doing whatever it is you're doing, whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee aspiring to become an entrepreneur,
right,
wherever you are. So talk to me a little bit about your transition from employee to entrepreneur.
Well, it was, I think that most people, you just find something that you're good at. And when you really like to do it and it starts taking up more of your time than you're able to give to a job, you kind of have to hit that crossroads and say, okay, I have to do this full time. And I've tried throughout my 2-year stint.
All 2 years.
I've tried to, all right, well, I'll get a part-time job, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. And I found that this thing takes all of your energy.
You know, what's interesting is I've been putting up some posts lately about the word commitment.
Right.
What are you committed to?
Right.
What are you committed to? Because that's the thing that you're going to get up early and stay up late and do the research and interview people and go out and network when everybody else is doing something else. You know, I'm committed to my education, and the last couple of days people have been inviting me to things, and I'm like, I am under these books. I need you to stop it. Stop asking me to do other things. I'm going after my MBA right now, and I've got to get. And so your commitment, what are you committed to? And I think that's what you're alluding to there, is that you've got to get committed to something. If you're developing your career, you've got to get committed to it, which means that you're going to have to do research companies, research the industry, understand the scope of what you're trying to develop in your career.
Right.
Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're an employee, what people are paying you for is you knowing more than them about the subject.
Definitely.
People don't need to pay you if they know just as much as you do about it.
Or if they feel that way. You gotta be the expert.
Right.
The subject matter expert.
That's right. SME, subject matter expert. Yes. What are you a subject matter expert about? I was having a conversation with someone and they said, I spend so much time researching this and knowing about this topic. I figured I got to figure out how I can make money with some of this knowledge, Right. So sometimes that's what a business owner does. They have so much knowledge about something, they figure, hey, I need to figure out how to make some money with this here topic that I love.
And going back to what you said about educating, right? You constantly have to educate yourself, even in my business, in my profession. There's always continuing education credits or what have you. Now, the real realtors that are actually making the real money, that are actually investing in themselves, will actually take different courses.
Right.
Like right now, I'm getting ready to enroll in just a class, just a marketing class or what have you. There are just different things that you need to do on your own in order to propel yourself upward. Because just being a realtor is not good enough for me. I want to actually know this business inside and out and be able to teach people the business. Because even in my office, if I'm an office manager or however they choose to use me once I get my broker's license, or if I branch out and open up another branch of what we have going on, people are still going to want to come to me for education.
Right.
And they're going to want to come to me for an opportunity. And those two things are what makes you a great broker.
And that's a conversation you and I were having, I think, the other week, was about the education piece. Right. People have a lot of ideas about real estate. DJ CEO even said that, he spends a lot of time thinking about real estate, looking into real estate and the different real estate strategies, because there are so many real estate strategies out there. There's the realtor side, there's the broker side, there's the construction side that includes people investing in properties and flipping them or renting them, or there are so many different strategies to be able to get into real estate. But knowing the business, that's the part I think a lot of people want the results, but then doing the work to know the business is the challenge.
And knowing your piece of it, knowing your piece of the business. Like right now, I'm a realtor. I want to be the best realtor I could be. When I move up to the broker level, I want to be the best broker I could be.
Right.
Also dabbling in investments, like we talked about that. I want to be the best investor that I can be. But when you start to open yourself up to different quadrants of real estate or different quadrants of just business, period, you want to learn as much as you can about the level that you're at first. And then that pushes you to the next level. Like sometimes I've been in situations with jobs where I've learned so much in my position and I didn't want to go up, and they dragged me up.
Oh yeah, I had that
and
too.
That will happen to you. They'll be like, no, you need to be a director. You need to be a whatever it is, because you know so much and you have such an effect on people.
Right.
Right. We need
Getting
you
to
in
know.
that position.
Exactly. People oftentimes say, well, I'm ready to move my career. Well, if the organization that you're with is not ready to move your career because you haven't yet shown them that you are in that position, that you'll own that position. I teach something called Own the Interview. Don't go in there and just let them rapid fire ask you a bunch of questions. Make it into a conversation by setting the tone of the interview and then sharing with them what you want them to know about your career. And I had a client that I was with just last night. She's going on an interview tomorrow. And she was like, wow, I never really thought about doing the interview that way. I said, yeah. I mean, listen, you want to have control of the conversation, not them. Come on, interviewers. I was an interviewer, okay? I was a recruiter. I used to interview people, and I used to do, I'm going to admit that I wasn't always as mature as I needed to be in some situations. My emotional intelligence was in different places on different days, right? Sometimes a candidate would come in and they were floundering so much, I would just entertain myself with the interview by asking them questions that I knew they couldn't answer. Listen. I am a human being that does different things to entertain myself. I'm not proud of those behaviors. I'm not proud of that. And some of my recruiting peers would call in. I wish they would call in and laugh in my face because they did the same thing, right? Because sometimes someone is so off base as they're going through the interview process, and the interviewer has to take them through at least some of the questions, right, in order to say that they adequately interviewed them. Right. But sometimes people go into interviews and they're just not ready. They haven't prepared. They don't know the answers. They've done no work, and that's blatantly obvious. And what you can't say as an interviewer is, okay, you didn't do anything, get out of here, right? So you take them through the process and you listen to where they are. But the reality is, if you haven't done the research, if you haven't done the work, if you have not practiced how you're going to present yourself, that interviewer may just humor you through for a little while and then allow you to leave their office and choose a different candidate. And now you may be perfectly qualified. This is the part that frustrates some of the clients that come to me. They go, I know I'm qualified. I know I can do the job. There's more to it than that.
Way more.
There's way more to it than that. Can you negotiate? Can you get through navigating this process of job search? Listen, it's not all fair. We talked about this before. We talked about the assessment, and some of that stuff stacks the deck against you. There's a lot of stuff out there. That's what Working Wednesday is about. That's what Miss D, the job coach, is about, is giving you the information that you need. I know what the person on the other side of the desk needs to know. I know what they're going to say. I know what their angle is as they interview you, what information they're looking for. And when I had that conversation with that young lady last night, at the end of our 1 hour session, she said to me, wow, you have given me such a different perspective on how I can go through this interview process. She says, I have a bunch of homework to do and I'm super excited, and let's keep going. And I was excited when she said that to me. That was the light bulb coming on. That was her saying to me, okay, I get it. It's not happenstance. Not if you're going after a job that pays you a significant amount of money. And many of the clients that I have are clients that are going after jobs that pay them a significant amount of money. Listen, if you're just going in to work at the grocery store at an entry-level position, yes, you might be able to wing it, and you might be able to just follow up for 6 months to get that job. But I'm talking about getting jobs that are career orientated, getting jobs that are taking you to the next level. 2019 is the year of your career. Hey, Ray, guess what?
What?
It looks like I'm running out of time.
Oh.
Listen, we do this every Wednesday for 1 hour, and I'm telling you, DJ CEO laughed at me last year. He said, Ms. D, you could talk for about 6 hours about this topic, couldn't you? I said, yep, I sure could. Why? Because it's a topic that I love, and it's a topic that I have a lot of knowledge on.
Right.
But we're coming to the top of the hour. And Ray, I have to say thank you for coming in.
Oh, I appreciate the invite. Anytime.
Listen, being able to share with people who you are, and let's share with the listening audience how they can get in contact with you.
You can get a hold of me via my cell phone. It's 813-857-3780. Again, that's 813-857-3780. Social media, Facebook and Instagram I use primarily. Facebook is Real Estate Ray Tampa. And on Instagram, it's Real Estate Ray _Tampa.
Excellent, excellent. And my name is Margaret D. Bellot. I am Miss D, the job coach, and this is Working Wednesday on In Touch News Radio. See you next time.